Is it just me, or is anyone else not at all surprised that stalking reports in some areas seem to have rocketed? In Leicestershire, for example, reports of stalking have increased by 700% to 7 per day. But as I say, I'm not entirely surprised by this, especially with the man-hating campaign that we see going on at the moment, the introduction of the Stalking Protection Act in 2019, and the police forcing women to report offences even if they're not actual offences, because with a little police magic, anything can be pretty much made into an offence to tick those damn boxes. In 2019, there were 351 reports of stalking made to Leicestershire police. That's fewer than 1 per day. In 2021, that figure was 2,443. Almost all of Leicestershire police stalking cases from 2021 have now been closed, although only 132 of them resulted in anyone being charged with an actual offence. Still not surprised. And the rate, which is about 6%, is still lower than any other crime rate in the area, which is about 7% of reports leading to a charge. So it's not really worth all the additional paperwork then. I wonder if it's worth all the other crimes going uninvestigated though. The Home Office, however, says that 51% of the reports were closed after the alleged victims decided not to support further action by police, although I bet my left bollock that many of those were persuaded not to follow it through or realised that they were forced into pursuing it in the first place, so Leicestershire can increase their numbers for their Home Office report. A Home Office spokesperson said, "Stalking is an insidious crime that leaves many victims psychologically distressed. The government takes its response to stalking extremely seriously, which is why we've tripled our funding to the National Stalking Helpline, introduced stalking protection orders, and doubled the maximum sentence for stalking from 5 to 10 years. Our Tackling Violence Against Women and Girls strategy also focuses on increasing support for survivors, bringing perpetrators to justice, and prioritising prevention. That is why we're improving our systems to better identify the risk perpetrators pose and enabling more effective data sharing between the police and other frontline agencies so that potential stalkers are stopped from being able to harm innocent victims. I apologise for the lack of word salad warning." Essex Police have recently revealed why there is an increase in this type of offence, and it's the first time I've seen it reported, to be honest. Essex Police have said that 2022-2021 was the first year that the police followed new guidance where all cases of harassment reported between ex-partners are to be recorded as stalking, unless the police don't believe that stalking was a factor. But as we've discussed before in many videos, what the police say they believe and what's actually true are often very conflicting stories. The government introduced stalking protection orders in January 2020, which allow police to intervene early to protect victims, or so they say. But despite the increased awareness and police powers, data shows that 84% of stalking cases closed during 2020 to 2021 were dropped due to difficulties gathering evidence. Well, maybe that's because there wasn't any evidence, rather than making it sound like some people were so clever they managed to hide all evidence of their stalking behaviour. An Essex Police spokesperson said, "We have seen a rise in reports of stalking and harassment across the country, and Essex is no different. This is largely due to changes in the way these offences are recorded by police forces nationally, which came into effect in 2019, but also because victims also have increased confidence in reporting crimes such as these." Look, considering the amount of police who fail to follow up on reports, fail to take reports, who decide to have a crack at the vulnerable victim themselves, or who decide to sexually assault the victims themselves, I find that statement very hard to believe. Incidents involving stalking victims are recorded in the most serious crime category, obviously along with hurty words. And we have specialist officers who support victims and investigate crimes. Stalking protection orders are just one of a number of options available to us and the courts to protect victims, with others including non-molestation orders and strict bail conditions on an offender. In many cases, these other measures will provide victims with protections from an offender, and stalking protection orders are often considered if further safeguarding is needed. All investigating officers are trained to consider a stalking prevention order at the beginning of any stalking investigation. But you see, the problem with SPOs is that they can be handed out willy-nilly, just like harassment warnings, with little to no evidence, which can put a blemish on someone, which can affect their life, based solely on somebody's words, be it a man or woman, and little to no evidence. Government giving these whimsical powers to label anyone they want as an offender without evidence, based solely on the word of someone, is not what the law is for. The law and punishment is to identify if a crime has been committed and punish for that crime appropriately, not to punish people because the plod might fancy the person making a complaint, or because it's against someone the police don't really like, with zero evidence of any offence actually taking place. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Big thank you to channel supporters, especially these guys. Your support is truly appreciated. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.